guys? This is the Next Fix podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Penley. I've got another stellar individual here on the better end of a recovery journey. His name's Michael Kirk. You might know some of his buddies that have been on the show already, and these guys, they don't pull any punches, and that's why I like it, because they're real success stories that have real paths attached to them. So I have a feeling that we're in for a wild ride. If you have caught some of the past episodes, you would know that these guys have really strong comeback stories. That's why I've become a fan of these fellas. And so, Michael, is it Michael or Mike? What do you want, brother?
It doesn't matter. Like I tell people, you can call me whatever. Just don't call me late for like some food or something like that. So
that's fair. Yeah, I mean, and it usually with gentlemen like yourself and myself, it's like I've been called worse no matter what you call me. So it's all good, right?
Sure.
Right. Hey man, so I'm dying to hear it. I'm dying to hear what it looked like for you to be an addict. Why do you consider yourself an addict? What made you a part of this this rough and tangled family?
Yeah, rough and tangled family. That's a way to put it, right? But I'm actually today I'm grateful to be a part of it. But man, so my story, like I guess it starts like with most addicts and alcoholics, like it starts in childhood, right? So I had an addict childhood, right? I had events happen to me, going through different things. I was bounced around from place to place. I didn't know who my biological father was till I was 15 years old. And so growing up, I never realized that all these things were traumatic events. To me, it was normal, right? I thought everybody lived fucked up lives, right? I thought everybody bounced around with aunts and uncles. I thought everybody, I thought that's just the way things were, right? And so I can even remember a time I didn't know who my father was, right? And I thought that was normal. And I didn't realize until I was a little bit older that it wasn't.
Wait. Hold on. So, what you're saying is that that there was numerous potential guys that you thought were bad, right? And yet you were confused.
No, I just didn't have a father, right? So
okay, I see.
Grandparents for a while, and then I lived with aunts and uncles. I was actually molested by one of my uncles, right? And I was bounced around. And then when I was in about the, I don't know what grade I was in, but I was about 7 years old. That's when my mom met the man that I consider my dad, right? He's my stepdad, but he's the man that I consider my dad. She got with him, and he helped her get custody back of my sister and myself. And so up until that point, I just didn't know who my father was, right? My mom had a past also, right? And it was just never a thing. I was into the naive, right? If we just don't talk about it, then you don't have to deal with it, right? And right, and that's where like my story just stays there, right? I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to talk about it, and I don't realize that it's fucked up until I'm old enough to realize, hey, that's fucked up, right?
Right.
So, like I said, the trauma growing up, and then when I met my dad, my mom got with the man I call my dad. He had multiple sclerosis. So when I first met him, he was this big, tall, and strong man, and he walked with a cane. And I just remember I thought that cane was the coolest thing I'd ever saw. Not too long after that, though, because they drank, and my mom liked to party, right? And I remember the first time I ever drank a beer. And I remember that sensation I got. Like a 7-year-old kid, you should probably not think beer tastes good. And I did. Like, right. And I liked it.
Yeah.
And so then it just goes on further, right? I start getting older. My dad's disease progresses. My mom she doesn't know what she wants, right? She's still young at heart. She's still trying to figure her own way out. So over time, we moved quite a bit. Then we moved to a spot that I called my forever home at the time. And
So where was this at, brother? What city, what state?
So
Where you at?
Parkersburg, West Virginia still, but we moved into the country a little bit. So it's a little place out past, it's called Lubeck. And it's out in the country a little bit, and it's away from the city, right? It's the first time I really, besides like my grandparents' house, it's the first time I had a home that was in the country. But when we moved out there was all sorts of things going on. Like my mom and my dad's relationship pretty much ran its course, right? His disease had progressed. They didn't have a relationship to the point where they slept in the same room. That was about it. So when we moved out there, my mom got with another guy. It was a big, long situation. But we all lived there in happy bliss. My sister ended up moving out at a young age. She was like 15. The guy that moved out was a great guy. My mom's fiance, his name was Joe. He was an amazing guy. He ended up dying of pneumonia, not even a year after we moved out there. Then my mom was an alcoholic at the time. And that just progressed. She got with another guy, and she ended up moving out and left me and my dad there by ourselves. And so here at this point in time, I'm a 15-year-old kid. I've tried, alcohol, obviously, right? That's where I fit in. I hang out with these guys that drink and these girls that drink, and I don't feel anything but accepted, right? I don't have to fucking talk about problems. I don't have to deal with nothing. I don't have to, it just doesn't exist, right? It's the not feeling that I went towards, right? And so it's me and my dad out there. He smokes marijuana for his multiple sclerosis because it helps him a lot. But as a 15-year-old kid, like, I'm not looking at the medical side of it. I'm looking at hey, I like the way it makes me feel, right?
Right.
And so at that point in time, I have, my stories, it's all over the place. So I got to think about everything. But at 12, I broke my ankle in the growth plate. And that was the first time I had ever touched an opiate. And as we were waiting for my mom, because I was at my aunt and uncle's house when this happened, and we were waiting for my mom to get to the hospital so I could get the surgery, and they gave me morphine. And I remember that feeling. And then afterwards, I got prescribed different pain pills, right?
Right. So you liked morphine? Because that's like one of the few things that like didn't really do it for me, man. Like I felt like so like ill. But no, you once they hit, it's like, you know, some people light up. Some people light up about certain things. It's like somebody smokes meth the first time, and you see them. It's like that hit a little bit different for old Tommy, man. He's, you know, it's like, but so this morphine hits your bloodstream, and you're just like, oh shit, yeah, this is it.
So I'm laying in bed. I'm laying in this hospital bed. And I'm in agony. My ankle was snapped in half, and they're like, we're gonna give you something for the. And my uncle, who had a problem with his trachea, he talked a little funny, right? I remember him saying, all right, we look at the ceiling, it'll be okay. And I remember when that morphine hit my body, that ceiling started spinning, and I started feeling euphoria, right? Instantly. So I've got this disease. My disease is the disease of more, right? So I work a program. I call myself a certain thing during that, but I'm an everything. Right? I have the disease of more with everything. I have never, ever done any Substance that I didn't want more of, and that I didn't just love. Right. That first beer at 7 years old. And so, yeah, the first time I did morphine, Ryan, I fucking loved it. And
so now there's more, you know, that you're the guy all about more. Does that go for experiences? Does that go for like, what about like gambling? What about other things that, it's just like fucking whatever it is, all more than shit, right? Got it.
Not all in the sense of the bad thing, right? It's not. I'm a disease of more on being a better father, right? I'm the disease of more of getting closer with who I understand as God, right? I'm the disease of more.
Right.
I didn't find that out until later on, right? And so
I've
got this fucked up past. All these things have happened to me. I don't want to deal with them. I found other things that help me not deal with them. And And I went with it, right? And so you fast forward, right? And so I don't like to get caught up in much, but I want you to know some of my story, right? But I don't get caught up in the past a whole lot. I love to tell about my experiences on things because that's what built me into who I am today. But fuck, man, you said we're going to be here for a little bit. We don't have time to even start it, right? So in the process of all this, I find I'm now 15 years old. I live with my stepdad, who is my father. I call him my dad, right? And I'm taking care of him because his disease has progressed pretty greatly at this point. And that's when I first got introduced to harder things, right? The first time I ever did cocaine, I did coke and meth in the same night. And I just thought, like, that's an amazing night, right? And so that's the way pretty much my adolescent years went, as taking care of my dad and any downtime that I had, taking as much substance as I could to drown everything, right? Because it's multiple sclerosis is a horrible fucking disease, man. I had to sit there, dad slowly deteriorate in front of my eyes every single day. And then I have this past trauma that I've never dealt with. So I've got all these things and I don't want to feel, right? I don't want to deal with this stuff. And here's all these things that will help me not. And so in the process, I meet a girl, right? And I have a kid and I have a little girl and
Wait, how old are you at this point? Last age I heard was 15. Where are you at now?
From 15 to 20, man, I've just been ripping and running, still taking care of my dad, right? My drug of choice is still everything, but at this point in time, it's a lot of opium, right?
Right.
And so that goes on. It's not a great relationship. I'm not in the best state, right? I'm a horrible person when certain things come to aspect. I love my kids, right? I love my dad. I love my family. But it turns out, like, I love this shit more, right? Because I love what it makes me feel, or better yet, what it makes me not feel, right? And I love that, right? I don't want to have to deal with that. So, in an on again, off again relationship over the next 2 years, I have 2 children with this lady, but she is not about it, right? She's not. We used to party together when we were teenagers, but she's not about any of this life, and so it just doesn't go well, right? And so when you fast forward, now I'm 23 years old. My addiction's really heavy, right? And now it's progressed to the harder pain pills like the Oxycontins, and but I'm still taking care of my dad as best as I could at this point. And I still got all these things going on. And man, I wind up in the psych ward a couple times, right? One time I took a handful of Xanax and a handful of fucking Oxys, and I don't even remember it, but I woke up handcuffed to a gurney, and they told me, hey man, you can go to the 4th floor where the behavioral health unit was, the psych ward, or you can go to the regional jail. And so I was like, you know what, I'll go to the psych ward, let's go there. Like, and during that, my dad.
Now, did they just like hold you till you kind of dried up a little bit, or was it like treatment?
So I was in there for 9 days.
9 days.
And here's the thing, man, is I can talk, right? And I'm a master manipulator. Now I've been an addict for years, right? And so I can manipulate anything. And I can use my dad and his illness to my advantage. Well, I've got to get home to take care of him. And I can bullshit with the best of them. And at this point,
right.
Consequences in my life, right? I'm pretty much a teenager that lives on his own. That my bills are taken care of because my dad pays those with his pension, right? Everything's taken care of. I can just I just take care of him in the process, right? I have a roof over my head, food in my mouth, and no consequences. I've never gotten in real trouble. I got locked up when I was 17, but I ended up getting no real severe consequences with that, right? And so you fast forward a little bit now. I've had no consequences. I'm doing what I want. And now it's to the point where it's the harder drugs. I'm in the psych ward. I do 9 days there. And in this, I had already started talking to a girl that was from my local area, but she had moved away. She lived in North Dakota at this point in time. When she was there, she was addicted to Oxycontin too, right? And so she's talking about how clean and sober she is out here and how we just need to get together and I need to just go out there. So in the process, I have a buddy staying with my dad, taking care of him. And that's what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to get out of this psych ward and I'm going to change my life with the geographical cure. I'm going to move to North Dakota and it's going to get better. Fucking drugs and alcohol.
Right.
My life is just going to be awesome, right? Yeah, well, it didn't happen. Right? So I move out there. Turns out the drug problem out there is just as bad, if not worse. I find other drugs. The meth's way better. But we end up moving back together. She moves back with me.
So wait, you moved out to South Dakota, North Dakota, whichever way. Right, you're out there because she's clean. You want to get clean. You go the other route. You immediately start hound dogging. You start hound dogging all the drugs, and you find all of them. Right, like it's amazing how when your mind is set on something like that, it's like you can make it magically appear. It's a weird. I've been through it clearly, right? So it's like, oh, hey, I know what I'll do. I'll just move somewhere. Like you could be in the depths of addiction, man. You could like put me in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I'm gonna find a fish with cocaine. Like I'm kind of like it's like amazing, like how you can just like hone in like a beacon, which can be your advantage later on. I want to get into that later on. But so you go there, you hook up with her. It doesn't work out as far as being sober. But
you know, opiates, but she was on meth. So as soon as I got there, I started getting high.
Right. And that just sets you up for, potential. Yeah. You're the guy more. So it just doesn't matter what it is. And, say, I've been sober off meth, but now I'm doing opiates again. I'm familiar with shifting gears as far as like the different substances. It's like, like when I quit booze for like a year and a half, but I was snorting so many pills, like I had like rainbow colored boogers. It's like, and that's I'm sober. It's like no. You just quit one thing, man. So I hear you on that.
Story. So my adolescence, all that's all I'm doing is I'm just changing one vice for the next, but this is me doing it my way, right? And so things are going to work, and I'll figure it out. Well, I switch it up, and so no, none of that works. We come home. I ended up she ended up having my youngest daughter, right? And we're in the throes of addiction, and now we're going to fast forward years, right? And so at this point in time, like I know I'm selling drugs, where all these things are happening. Tragic life events has happened in this, right? Our house burnt down, different things. Like I said, I've got a story, man, but we don't have time for all of it, right? Right? And so in the process, now you can just imagine over years of this, right? Now my family's all caught on. I think I'm slick. I think all these things happen. My dad is now in a nursing home by this point in time, right? Because he progressed. So I have freedom from that, right? And so now I'm out on my own doing the big boy thing. I'm selling drugs to get by because obviously how else do you get by? And so we fast forward years. Our house burns down. When that happens, that's when before my house burned down, I had everything I wanted, right? I'm selling drugs, so I've got everything I need. I have never had severe consequences for anything that happened in my life. But now I've got a really bad habit, no money, no way to do it, and nothing else. So over the next few years, my mom ends up getting temporary custody of my two kids, because when I got with Nikki, she already had a 1-year-old daughter, and then we had our daughter together. So when that happened, we're lost in a day, right? It was always me and her, Bonnie and Clyde, right? But our kids went to the back burner, and they went to my mom's house. So you fast forward, my mom was my best friend. She was the only person that didn't give up on me. Everybody else in my life, they gave up on me, but she wanted to think that I could do it. So over time and time again, different geographical cures. I had tried it so many different times. I've went to Georgia, North Dakota. I've went many different places. It never worked. In and out of detoxes. So from 2017 to 2018, I went into 6 different detoxes because I knew something in my life wasn't working, right? We got to change something. But here I thought, I'm going to walk through these magical doors and everything's going to get better, right? Just take the drugs and
out. Hold on a second. Now, is it detoxes or rehab, right? Like detox in my mind is I see like, oh, they're trying to get you to the point where you can safely not be going through withdrawals. And I think rehab in my mind, I'm thinking like you voluntarily go there to quit. So which one is it?
Right? Because in my mind of thinking anything longer than a week, fuck that. You got to be crazy. I'm not doing that. I've got shit to do with my life. I just need drugs and alcohol out of my system. You take that out of my system, I'll be fine, right? And so that's my mind thinking, my thought process over this period of time. And my life, I mean, I can't. I'm homeless. When my mom kicks us out, right? Well, we're homeless and we're staying in different like abandoned buildings and stuff like that, staying with different people, different things like that. And so when I tell you it goes down the scale, it goes down the scale. We just don't have the time, man, right? So this is something I tell in my story a lot, right? And this is where I want to talk about. This is one of my turning points, because everybody says rock bottom. I don't know what the fuck rock bottom is, because every time I thought I was I promise you, every time I thought I was at rock bottom, it always got worse, right? But
yeah.
But
I know I can attest to that, man, because like people think it's this one, like if you're drawing it like on a map, it's like here and then here. It's like, oh, here's the bottom, and then I'm boop, and it's like, no, it's more like you tumble, and then everybody's like, oh, that's clearly the bottom, and you drop down again, and then it's like it seems like it never ends, but like eventually.
Right? If I'm digging, like I always think I found the base. No, you can always dig deeper. No, but what happened was I finally just took my hands off the shovel. Man, I just stopped fucking digging.
I love that, man. I finally took my hands off the shovel. I have not heard that, but that is fucking amazing. So you're digging yourself to rock bottom. You realize I think there's more, but I can also just let go of the shovel and I can be all right. Oh. Yes, I love that. That's amazing.
I didn't realize that on my own. So I'm going to tell you a little series of events, right? So my mom would kick us out. She would let us back in, right? Life got really serious at this point in time. My mom let me and Nikki back in. We're there with the girls. My mom got sick, right? Like flu sick, right? So, so we're taking care of the girls. At this point in time, they're like 4 and 8. We're taking care of the girls, getting them ready for school and everything like that. And my mom came downstairs and she's like, there's something wrong. My arm's numb. So we ended up calling 911, had the ambulance come get her, went to the hospital. Hours later, she came back, right? And she said that the hospital said there was nothing wrong with her. So we fast forward to the next day, man. And this is a story I like to tell a lot because it helped build me, right? Not the proudest moment of my life, right? And I'm kind of speeding it up because I understand like we've got some time things. So the next day we're getting ready for a doctor's appointment because I knew something was wrong with my mom, but I didn't understand, right? Because I'm too fixated on other things, right? My mind is on dope. My mind is on the next high, right? And so I know I'm wrong, but I can't clearly see what's going on. So we're smoking a cigarette. Me and my mom are smoking a cigarette. We're waiting for the bus for her to go to her doctor's appointment because I'm going to take her and go with her. And we're smoking the cigarette. My mom goes like this. And I was like, what's up? Like, you want me to put that out? And she shakes her head, yeah. And so I tell this because it's pivotal. It's pivotal in my life, right? And so, but she couldn't say the words and she just shook her head, yeah. So we put it out and we go to walk to the bus. As we're walking to the bus, it gets a little wobbly, but I still don't realize how serious these things are, right? Because I'm too fixated. And what I didn't tell you was right before this, when she was in the bathroom getting ready, I stole her debit card out of her wallet or out of her purse. I ran down the road because I can get meth literally right here beside the house. I heroin 2 houses down. Right. And so I went and I stole that money real quick, got her thing back in her purse. And now I've got, because I'm an intravenous drug user, right? So now I've got a loaded rig, but I haven't used my drugs yet. And so I've got that in my pocket. So my mind is on that, right? I don't realize how serious what this is. My mom is my best friend. And this is what I do to my best friend. The only person that at this point in time, my whole entire family had given up on me. And they were telling her to write me off, right? But she's the one that keeps taking me and keeps loving me, right? So we're walking to the bus. Her legs are starting to get shaky, right? And we go to get on the bus. And this is as we go to get on the bus, my mom's a little bit of a heavier like on the time. At this point in time, Ryan, I'm 124 pounds. Right. I think I'm the shit, but yeah, I'm struggling in life. And we go to get on the bus, and my mom's legs give out from underneath of her. So now it's a struggle. Here you got somebody strung out who's dope sick, who's trying to get his mom up, and we're trying to get onto the bus. Right? It's a team. It's a struggle. And we finally get up, and we make it back a few feet, and we sit down. And I'm sweating. Right? I look over. My mom's crying. Right? My mom's crying. At the time, I didn't know it, but the last words my mom ever spoke on this earth, she spoke, and what she said was, she said, "I'm sorry." My mom's sitting here telling me that she's sorry, right? Knowing that I just stole money out of her purse, knowing the way I'm living, knowing that she's raising my kid. She just told me, so we cry together. I tell her, we just hug and we hold and we get to the bus. Right? Getting off the bus was a lot easier. We get to the doctor's. I sit her down. I sign her in. I say, "Hey, Kirk's here." I mean, she's sitting out here. But now, remember, mind you, my mind's on one thing. It's in my pocket, and I'm still dope sick. I got to get well. So I go to my mom and I say, "Hey, I've got to go use the bathroom. You going to be all right?" She shakes her head, yeah. Shakes her head, yeah. So fast forward, I go into the bathroom. I'm there for a very long time. I'm an intravenous drug user, been that way for quite a long time at this point. So I can't hit. So I'm in there for a really long time. I hear a commotion, but I can't focus on anything. I only focus on what I need to feel better. That just more. I don't have it right now. I feel feelings. I feel emotions. I feel sadness. Everything that just happened, I feel. I don't want to feel that, right? And so I'm focused in on this. I get out. It's probably been 45 minutes. I get out of that bathroom. My mom's not there. I think, all right, she went into the back. Go up and I come back there. They say, "Where have you been?" And of course, I'm a master manipulator. I said, "Oh, I've got stomach problems. I've been in the bathroom. I've got all these things." They said, "Well, your mom passed out." Right? The ambulance got her. We fast forward to that night. And I'm speeding through a lot of this stuff, but I want to tell a lot of my story. I want to talk about more of the solution. But we get to the hospital. My family's there. They still don't know what's wrong. My mom's uncomfortable in the bed. And one thing that keeps happening, right when I walk in, everybody despises me. So everybody's staring at me with that look, like there's this fucking right. And a lot of them blame me for her issues with her health, because I put so much stress on her, right? The one thing they keep saying is, "Where's your mom's purse? Where is your mom's purse?" I said, "I don't know where the fucking purse is. Like, I promise you, when I sat her down and went to go use the bathroom because of my stomach problems, right? Her purse was there." And so now we fast forward. Everybody leaves late at night now, but my mom's my best friend, right? I don't want to leave her. I don't want to leave her. Everybody's left except me. Now I'm dope sick again, right? What do I got to do? I got to focus on that one thing. My body's focused. So I'm leaving my best friend laying in this hospital bed. I go to use the bathroom. When I go to use the bathroom door had been open the whole time we were there. It never was shut. I go to shut it. When I do, I realize there's a cabinet behind it. So of course, I open that cabinet and there's my mom's purse. Right? What do? That's my mom's laying there fighting for her life, that I didn't realize how serious it was. I didn't realize everything that was going on because I'm too fixated on other things. What did I do? Oh, well, nobody knows where this purse is. I can blame somebody else. I can blame an ambulance driver, a first responder, somebody that's there to save your life. I can blame them. So I go and I take my mom's debit cards, 2 of them, and I drain them both. Right? And we fast forward, and my mom, that was her breath. She had me stroke. That's why she couldn't talk. It was a lot serious that they didn't. When they tell me this, focus to that. This is my best friend. I'm in denial. What's the only thing that I've ever known to cure everything that I've done in my life? Oh, this is more. So I'll go do a bunch of heroin. I don't have to deal with this. I don't have to feel it. They tell me my mom's got a few hours to live. Man, it was probably 8 hours probably before I went back to Make it in there. My mom's still alive. Whole entire family's there. Not even after I get in that room, I'm holding on. Here it is. I'm have a door purse lined up. So it all goes downhill. Right? Where I'm staying, my mom's, I lose that. Kids get split up and I lose that. Right? Mom, my best friend, I lose that. So I just don't give a fuck. That was March 16th, 2018. By April 30th of 2018, I'm arrested and in jail. 4 felony charges. One of them is robbery. I'm facing 8 to 40 years. So nothing stops. Like, I don't know if you know anything about jail or prison, but man, it's easier to access shit in there, right? Nothing.
Right.
You fast forward 8 months. I've been in jail 8 months. I'm facing a serious time, right? Circumstances happened with my mom's death that I was able to get out of jail on bond. They took me to this place called Recovery Point, right? It's a rehab, a long-term, something I've never been able to do. Fuck it, I don't want to be in jail. I'll go here, right? And Recovery Point is a little different, right? It kind of makes you face the problem. So the whole time, right, I thought the problem was the drugs and alcohol. You take those away and I'll be perfect, right? But I didn't realize drugs and alcohol were only the solution to my problem. I'm the problem, but I never realized that. And even when I went to Recovery Point, I just wanted to stay out of jail. I didn't want to work on the problem. So I made it there 82 days. I was on a GPS monitor, but I wasn't getting high, right? So everything's going to make it better. I ended up getting my bond revoked, right? I ended up getting my bond revoked, and they sent me back to jail to face my charges. I ended up pleading down to a second-degree robbery, which is 5 to 18 years in prison. At that point, fuck it. Like, I wasn't getting high at Recovery Point, but fuck it, who cares? Now I'm facing all this time. I've got all this going on. Fuck it. I go back to what I know. I don't have to face reality. I won't get to see my children again for, at this point, over 4.5 more years, right? I won't be in the same. But fuck it. And that's what I did. But thank God I did go to Recovery Point, right? Because everything these guys were trying to tell me, all these cliche sayings, all these things, and 12-step meetings and places that we went, they were so repetitive and they pissed me off, right? Made me mad. But that was repetitive things. So we fast forward a few more months. I get sentenced to prison, but I'm still in the regional jail. And then they move me regional jails, and now everything's easier accessing me, right? And I just don't care. I'm doing my thing. Well, one day they tell me, Kirk, pack it up. You're going to prison. Fuck yeah. It's got to be better than here, right? Well, they don't tell you before you go to prison. What I didn't know, because this was my first time in prison, was that you have to go to a receiving where you get classified, right? And so when I go right next door to this receiving, which is a 21-hour day lockdown, you get out for 3 1-hour sessions. When you go over to this receiving, the first thing they do is hand me this cup and tell me to piss in it. I lit the bottom of it. I mean, hooch that I'd been drinking in there, right? Some Oxen, because that's easily accessed in jail, and methamphetamines and weed. And so I lit it up. And so then once again, right, consequences to your actions, right? And they tell you, well, now here you are, you're facing time. You're 30 years old. You're 31 years old at this time. I got arrested I was 29 when I got arrested. I was now 31 when I was starting to go to prison. So they're telling me, like, here we go. Now you're never going to leave a medium security prison. Like, you had chances for work release. You had chances for all these other things. But once again, consequences to your action. And the way the receiving is there, I told you it's lockdown. Well, now I picked, so I don't need to get out for the 3 1 hours a day with everybody else. When they would remember me, I'd get out for 1 hour by myself. And I was there for 137 days. 130.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gnarly, brother. Oh.
forced to.
But now, I mean, I hate to be the guy like focusing on the very tiny glimmer of hope. You can't get any drugs because you're not seeing anybody. So now you really are clean, right? So it's like you're clean as a whistle, right? Okay.
And so,
well, I mean, I know that's a shitty place to be, but at least there's that. Like, if you want to hold any kind of nugget of positivity, there's 137 straight.
Really, it is, right? So that's the first time. So recovery point, right? I was clean then too, right? But I wasn't focused on anything else. But now they lock me up in this tiny cell, and I'm clean, right? And so everything those guys were trying to tell me about myself, about the problem, about the disease that I have, right? This disease of more, right? Everything they've been trying to tell me. First time I've been able to sit back and I've been able to think about it. And so that's when it was October 18th of 2019 is when I was in Martinsburg receiving in Martinsburg, West Virginia, trying to get ready to go to prison in West Virginia. And that's when my life changed.
So how long were you in there?
I was in for 137 days.
No, that was the total. Okay, you got out. That's you got out of prison in.
No, I did 5 years in prison.
Okay, that's right. Shit. But yeah.
Yeah, you have to add my jail time up before I went to recovery point. My jail time after recovery point, my Martinsburg receiving time, and then I think it was probably about 3.5 more years that I did in actual prison. So all the time I gave the state of West Virginia's correctional facility, I gave them 5 years of my life.
So you get out of prison and then you return to recovery point, right? That's
No. So, mind you, I've got a few more years. And at this point in time, they sent me up to a level 5 prison, right? Because I've got the write-ups, I've got the drugs and intoxicants, I've got the robbery charge. But I knew then that I needed to change something. So in those 137 days, I said, this is what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to give everything to it. I've tried everything else, right? I've tried everything my way. But the one thing I hadn't tried was what everybody was trying to do, right? Especially at recovery point. It was work a 12-step recovery program. So I said, you know what? I will, right? And so while I'm in Martinsburg receiving, I'm in the 2 books that I got right off rip was I've got a Bible and an AA big book, right? I decided that I will do this one time. And you gotta mind you, the winter before I got arrested, I was homeless when I wasn't staying with my mom. At one point in time, I lived in an abandoned building. My clothes were so soiled that when it froze outside, I stuck the carpet in there. And so I talked about, there's so much of the story, you know, but that's how low it was. And so now I've tried everything, but nothing's worked. And so you know what? I'll give it this one time. And if it doesn't work, I will go right back to that same mentality I was, thinking I'm going to die alone and in an abandoned building somewhere with a needle in my arm, right? I fuck up everything I touch. This is what but I'm going to give it one shot, right? I'm going to give it one shot and I'll do this, right? Everything they've been saying, this cult shit, that's what I thought. I thought this is a cult. Like,
Right.
But the thing about it, Ryan, is that it changed my life, right? Because everything those guys in recovery point were trying to tell me was about me. But I didn't want to hear that at the time, right? I didn't want to face the problem. And so I started working it, right? And I started working a 12-step program in prison, right? And then they send me to a prison where all my buddies are, right? All my buddies are there and they're getting high and they're getting drunk and they're doing the same thing. But I wanted something different. And I promised myself, and I promised my mom that I would do this, right? I'm going to do this. I'm going to give everything to it. And if it doesn't work, then who gives a shit, right? Then I'll be that useless fucking junkie, and that's the way I'll die, right?
That's your plan B, huh? Is that the plan B? So it's just to die in a warehouse.
Yeah, that was like my plan A. 12 steps is like my plan Z, right? So I tried A through Z. I tried them all. I had different plans for every. Plan A was that useless junkie dying alone, right? But I've tried everything else my way. I've done everything else my way. I've even tried 37 Zs after the first one, right? And so that 38th Z is this 12-step program, but giving everything into, right? And that means taking myself off. I talked about taking my hands off that shovel earlier. That's the first thing that the first time I ever decided I'm going to take my hands off of it. So that's what I did, right? And that's when my life started to, right there in prison. It wasn't fucking like everybody I know and care about that's in prison with me. They're all doing the same shit. But I wanted to give everything to it. And so then I did. And man, I can't even begin to explain what started to happen. Right? So I started doing these things that this 12-step program has. Put God, as I understand God, my higher power, right? Put that in my life, right? And so step one, I'm not going to go over the steps. I'm not going to go over all those things, but I'm going to go over. And in this program of Alcoholics Anonymous, it said we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable, right? And so I just changed the word alcohol to every fucking thing imaginable, right? And so every time somebody had said in one of those meetings, in one of those fucking places, blah, 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 step one, yeah, I have no problem telling you, yeah, when I use heroin, I end up fucking robbing everybody. I'll rob a gas station. When I use heroin, use meth, yeah, I will fucking take down everything that I can and leave nothing standing. So I thought I've done step one every single time. But no, if we go back and it says we admitted we were powerless, right? So I admit I'm powerless. So if I'm the one that's powerless, how come I've been trying to do this shit my way every single time? I'm not listening to suggestions. I've not listened to what anybody else said. I don't want to be a part of any of this shit. I'm going to do it my way. When you took the drugs and alcohol away, I'm still going to do it my way. At Recovery Point, I had no drugs and alcohol, right? But I still fucked up Bond because I was doing things my way. I fucked it up, right? I was on a GPS monitor doing what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
I fucked it up. And so for the first time in my life, I looked at that step one and I told you I wanted to do this honestly. So I'm the one that's powerless. And you're right. I've got no power. Because when I run off of me, I fuck shit up, right? And so yeah, I'm powerless over alcohol. My life has become unmanageable. But I'm the one that's powerless. So that's when I decided I was going to take my hands off that shovel, right? I'm done digging, right? In Warrensburg Receiving, that wasn't my low. That wasn't my rock bottom. Like, yeah, that shit sucked, right? But I promise you, I had a million more stories that I haven't told you that should have been my rock bottom, right? So but that's when I decided that I was going to take my hands off the shovel, right? I'm done digging. I'm going to take some suggestions. I'm going to try to work on my problem. Me, and I'm the problem. The whole time I never wanted to.
So how long? All right, and just for a timeline's sake, you're in prison when you start working the steps.
Yeah.
How long did you develop, or how long did you work the steps, or even go through the process? However many times, like at what point? 5 years total period, total time in prison. How much of that was dedicated to the 12 steps?
Like the last 3.5 years. So I went to I got arrested. April 30th of 2018. My sobriety date is October 18th of 2019, right? So I got out of prison. In February of 2023, right? So October 18th of 2019 to February 22nd of 2023 was me in prison working a 12-step program.
Right. So now, all right. So you've touched on the two, and I honestly, I believe in those 2 steps, even though I'm not a 12-step guy. I'm not. It just didn't end up being my route. But there's so many undeniably powerful parts, and my very favorite part is the surrender, because this is something I agree with you wholeheartedly, that I was always that, I got this. And in the time and time again, I learned that that just gets me into shit, even now, well, it doesn't get me all fucked up in a gutter somewhere, but it costs me to think that I have it all under control. And I let my ego start driving the bus, and it's usually just I have to learn this lesson. I go over it, it seems like countless times. No, the silver lining in that is that when I have that redundant aha moment of like, yeah, you know, I'm not the center of the universe. And you know, a funny saying, or a saying that I really enjoy, is that what's the difference between God and ourselves is that God never thinks that he's us, right? So it's like I don't know how many times I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. I'm the center of the universe, and then everything crashes apart, you know, falls apart, or I make a massive blunder in my life shortly after that thought, you know, or that path. So you, all right, I want to get to after prison. I want to get to what's going on. I want to get to where you're at now. I want to get to you know, what you have on the horizon. What's Mr. King's future look like?
So in that time of prison, I started to rebuild relationships, right? I'm a better father than I've ever been through a little 8-inch screen, about the same size as what we're doing now. That's how I had to be a father for the last, 3.5 years of prison, right? And when I get out of prison, I've been repairing these things. I've been working these steps, right? So I get out in February 22nd of 2023, and I go to my sister's house. So we've had rocky relationships, but for the last 5 years, she had custody of my youngest daughter, right? And so I get out and I move there with my sister does not have a drug problem. She doesn't have a drinking problem, right? She's where as it gets, right? She'll hold me accountable, right? The structure I need, and it's where I, right? And so I need that structure. I'm not just going to go after 5 years and throw me to the wolves. No, I need structure. But I knew I needed to take it slow, right? And so here's the thing. I was blessed to have her support, her and her husband, their support. I can't say how much that is the reason I am where I am today, because they allowed me to live at their house. They helped me out with things. They helped me with my first car when I first got out. But I'm overwhelmed with everything, right? I've got 9 driving unsuspendeds. I don't have a driver's license. I'm a convicted felon. I've got all these things going on in my life. But I just took it slow. One of those cliche sayings that used to piss me off, one day at a time. That shit used to piss me so bad. But I slowed it down, and that's what I literally just took it one moment at a time, right? And so I make a phone call, right? What do I need to do to get my license back? And I start taking these steps to figuring things out, right? And then all of a sudden we fast forward, and now we're in June. Here it is. We're June 7th, 2023, right? Last year, one day from today, last year.
Yeah.
I called a guy up, right? The guy I had formed a bond and a friendship with years earlier at a place called Recovery Point, right? But this guy got his head out of his ass and continued to do what he needed to do, right? And so at this point in time, I'm in recovery. I'm trying to, but I knew when I realized those promises, when I realized my life was going the way it was, I knew for the rest of my life, this is what I want to do. If I can go from that useless junkie that decided I was going to just die that way to living a happy, meaningful life that I am, I want to do the rest of my life this recovery, and this is what I want to do forever, right? But nobody will give me, right? Nobody's going to give me a shot. I'm a convicted felon. I've got all this on my rap sheet. Okay, at this point in time, I'm just now got my license back. But one of the guys that did was a guy who I want to give a shout out to. He's my man Jacob May, right? He's a director of operations at the facility I work at right now, and he called me up and he actually emailed me because I sent my resume in, right? And he was like, "Bro, if you needed a job, why didn't you ask me?" You know what I mean? And he hit me up. He brought me out there. So when nobody else would give me, this guy did. And so, which is awesome. Like today's significant for me, right? Today makes 366 days that I've worked at the same job, right? I've never worked longer than 3 weeks at a job, right?
Right.
I start year 2, right, of working at the same job. But that guy gave me a shot and he gave me an opportunity. I couldn't be more grateful. So now I'm commuting back and forth to this job, and things are just slowly, right? I'm building these relationships back in my life, but it's not without tragedy, right? Tragedy strikes, man. I don't want to get too much into it because I want to be on the positive, but here I do want to say this, right? The mother of my daughter and my stepdaughter, June 16th of last year, right? 10 days from now, she passed away. It related to drugs and alcohol, right? They were on a run for drugs. The driver of their car was drunk. They ran off the road, wasn't wearing a seatbelt. They wrecked and she died. Right? This was the love of my life. The person, even though at this point in time, she was using, I thought she'll get her shit together and we'll die old. But it's these moments.
This is North Dakota. This is North Dakota.
Yeah, she's back now. She lives here now. We've lived together since then. We stayed together.
Oh.
But when I went to prison, she was lost in the madness and I went to prison. But we were together for 7.5 years before I went to prison.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, hey, I'm very sorry for your loss, brother. I think that you're doing what you can do best in her memory is keeping your shit together. You know, like there's a lot of value in being the person when tragedy strikes, you know, the person that just doesn't fall apart. I mean, there's a lot of value in just that. If you could just be a shoulder for somebody to cry on, I mean, it's massive. It's a massive win. And it speaks volumes as to how well you're put together to be a rock in the storm. And that sounds like what you are, man. And so I want to applaud you on that. It's a really kick-ass thing to be. If nothing else, not to crumble, man. It's a win, right?
That's crazy because I don't see myself as that rock, right? It was everybody else around me. That this sober support system that I had built over the time, right? And at this point in time, I'd only been out of prison for 4 months. But I have an army behind me at this time, right? I started this job with amazing people, like, and they had my back, right? And so when I get the news, the very first thing I think is, fuck, I need a drink. The second thing I think is, oh, my sponsor. Well, he doesn't answer because he's at work, right? And so the old me would have said, fuck it, right? But I took my hands off that shovel. That's what changed. And so I called up my boss, right? The guy that just gave me the opportunity 9 days prior to this, right? And I messaged him actually. And I said, bro, I need you. That's all I said. Because I couldn't get a clear thought out. And he didn't miss a beat. He said, come here. I'm here now. Right. And so I went out there and now I'm surrounded by those other rocks, right? The friends that quickly became family. These people that, had my back, right? When I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how I was going to hold it together for my children, right? I didn't know how I was going to, right? But those people around me, that support system that I had built, everything that comes, I couldn't do any of it by myself. It's everybody else that helped keep me there. But the one thing I did do is I did make that call, right? If I don't take the action to call them, then they'll never know. And the old me wouldn't have took that action. I would have never picked up the phone. I would have never done anything. The only action I would have taken was that drink, and it would have ended up me fucking probably dead in an alleyway with a needle in my arm, right? But it's that sober support that helped me through that time, right?
That's awesome, man. And so where I want to know. Well, I do know. I'm a little bit privy to where you're at now. I know that you're working alongside Jared. And that's at the same place. Like this is the same recovery point, correct?
No. I work at a place called Harmony Ridge Recovery Center.
Harmony Ridge, yeah. Forgive me, man. I get a little bit twisted. But you're doing great work over there, man. You are now a steadfast member of this community. You've mentioned it a few times, but I don't want people to think that if it wasn't for people like yourself out there, in the trenches, and you know, and I know that, man, it's a place to build bonds, and you have several close members in your circle, right? Your inner circle that you can count on, and there's a lot to be said for that kind of a relationship. And then for you, as you mentioned, it takes a lot of courage it takes a lot of courage to pick up the fucking phone, man, or to reach out, because the other path, but sometimes the devil that you know is better than the one you don't. So you just go back and you're like, well, at least I know I'm going to forget about everything if I go just down this other path that I'm so familiar with.
I was miserable, Ryan, and then there's abandoned buildings. I was miserable fucking trying to figure out how to get high every day. I was miserable, but I was comfortable, right? And so that's what I know. Know it, I'm going to stay in it, right? And it's uncomfortable to get out of myself and to ask for help. But here, that's my pride and ego again. I'm thinking I'm so important that people that love me wouldn't want to help me, right? I don't want.
I want to mention something too, man, and bring it up from the beginning of our conversation. Is that as soon as you said it, it was so it just hit me right on the nerve. Is that more? You're the guy of more. And I believe wholeheartedly that guys like yourself who make it, guys like myself who make it, become addicted to something useful, right? That is the trick, right? What we can't get rid of is our addictive nature. We're addicts by character, right? Call it a flaw if you want, but I don't do that any longer. It's a superpower if you decide to go with something that's valuable, useful, not selfish. And just like you had mentioned earlier, you're addicted to being a father. You're addicted to God, your religion. You're addicted to a power higher than yourself. And so all you did is you looked around, you did a proper analysis, you stopped being so selfish. And now look at the power that an addict's mind has when it's set on something that is.
It's
what's
like
that?
Way you said superpower there, right? And so I thought about it. Like I was just the villain before. That's all it was. Like I still had those powers, but I was just the super villain. And so now, I love that, the superpowers, and I use them for good, because the most fascinating, articulate, talented, loving, caring, kind, wonderful people, loyal, strong-willed, man, I can go on with all the assets of these people, are addicts and alcoholics, right? Right, and so they're just, I was stolen. That person that did those things, right, robbing my mom on her deathbed, right? And I can do a laundry list of things that I did, right? That's not who I am, but that's where drugs will send me to, right? This is who I am, right? This person that now has full custody of my daughter. I now live in my own place. I now have my own car that I drive legally, right? I now have her fathomed wherever even possible. I wear a button-up suit to button-up shirt to work and got some loafers on. Like I never thought that was fun, right? I just never tapped into my potential, right? I do have the superpower, and I use it for good today. For the most part, do I fuck up? Yeah, I fuck up too.
Yeah.
Right, but I check it and correct it today. It's like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. I love it, man. Before we take off here, man, I want you to stop rubbing it in, because I don't have my license. I still don't have my license. Even though this is meant for a lot of people to see, but I still drive. So yeah, I'm not perfect, but hey, I'm still working on it, brother. But dude, you've checked off a lot of boxes as far as being a put together human. Now those we've got different boxes that you're checking off. A lot of boxes. There's the column of law-abiding citizen in the loafers and the shirt and the appearance. But then there's the soul, and you're checking off all these boxes too. The soul, the connection, the community, the children, the fatherhood, massive a checklist of just success all the way from top to bottom there, man. And I love it, man. And you're out there just being genuine, and man, I really, 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 really appreciate the happy ending to the story, because not everybody gets that happy ending, and you embrace it. And so, I really want to thank you, man, for being on today. I know that you're 100% an inspiration, brother. Is there anything else that you want to plug, or you want to send anybody away with? You want to reach out? You want to what's your final message, brother?
I just want to thank you for what you do, right? Because recovering out loud is helping save people's life, right? So this podcast, different things like this. Why do I recover out loud? I recover out loud because I want to be maybe somebody can turn to, right? If you go to my Facebook, I even made a TikTok where it's about recovery. I did different things like this, but it's literally just to share my story, to know that I am that guy, that junkie that did 5 years in prison because I couldn't handle I did lose everything, but I've got everything back. And if you recover out loud, person that just is scared to pick up the phone now, maybe they can see that and give them some hope. Man, this shit's life or death.
Well, hey, well, tell them what the hell's the name of the page and what's the TikTok. Where how do they find you?
Yeah, I don't even know. Like,
say the name. Just what the hell is your?
When I went to prison, TikTok wasn't even a thing, so I learned it. But my name's Michael Kirk, so I'm sure you can find it on TikTok. Like,
it is.
I'm from Parkersburg, West Virginia. I like to recover out loud. I like to share my story. When I help anybody else battling through the trenches, it's not for the weak, right? I was weak for a long time. I'm a fucking warrior today.
I love it, man. On that note, guys, this is the Next Fix podcast. This is Michael Kirk. It's been a stellar time, a stellar conversation, man. And until next time, guys.